Well, hi there guys, and welcome to another video. So recently guys, I ordered some delivery from Chuckles Chippy, and one of the things I noticed on their menu was a spam fritter, which wasn't even a thing I knew existed. So I added one to my order, just for the kicks of it, and I was pleasantly surprised at how not totally disgusting it was. So I thought, I'd like to make spam fritters. Now, I went looking on the internet, I have no culinary skills whatsoever, and I was pleasantly surprised to discover that making the batter for a spam fritter is, apparently, as simple as mixing beer and flour. So I thought, yes, I'm going to have a go at that, and you can watch me do it. So, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is turn on the heat to my pan, get that preparing for when I'm ready to stick something in there. And then let's slice up some pieces of spam. Now, I have purchased some spam for the purpose. Here it is, spam by Hormel Foods. What does it say? Lift and pull, squeeze until it pops, tap and squeeze, slice and fry. Well, let's try that. Lift and pull. There it is. Beautiful. Squeeze until it pops. Not quite sure what that means. Do you know, this kind of smells and looks like dog food. And that's the only thing I don't really think is great about spam. Well, I don't think that's going to come out easily. Let's encourage that out with a knife. Okay, that's not coming out easily at all. There we go. One big chunk of processed meat. I ask you, what better is there to eat on a Saturday night? Right, let's take a couple of slices of this. Let's make a couple of spam fritters today, shall we? One slice, two slice. Actually, let's make three. Let's really push the boat out. 3 slices of spam for our frittering. Nothing could go wrong. Right, then we need to make our batter. So I have a mixing bowl and mixing utensil here for the purpose. That was loud. So, flour. I have some Sainsbury's Taste the Difference, very strong Canadian white bread flour. Let's put some of that in our mixing bowl. I have literally no idea how much I need, because I didn't really read that far through the instructions. So, well, let's just have more than we need, because I'm sure we could make some pancakes or something. Now, it did say somewhere that maybe you should put baking powder in it. Other places just said you don't need baking powder because the beer is full of bubbles. But, you know, I'm going to just put like a half a teaspoon, there we go, half a teaspoonful of baking powder in there, because why not? What could go wrong? And also, just because I like to go off the rails with my recipes, I'm going to put some hot chili powder in there as well, because, you know, why not spice up your batter a little bit? So I'll put a little bit of hot chili powder in there. Probably not to everyone's tastes. Right, let's just mix the dry ingredients. That'll do. Okay, now the next thing that goes in here is lager. I have acquired some lager. Specifically, I decided to go with some Samuel Adams Boston lager, because who doesn't like Boston? Right, do I have a bottle opener handy? That is the question that we all ask. Yes, I do. I do have a bottle opener handy. There we have it, our Samuel Adams opened. Right, well, let's pour some of that in here. No idea how much I need, so let's just start mixing it. See how thick it gets. It's a great smell. It's much too thick. Let's have a little more Samuel Adams in there. Okay, that's looking a bit more like the consistency I might expect batter to be prior to being cooked. Not that I really know, because, well, I don't really have many culinary skills, but I think that will probably do nicely. Okay, there's our batter material. Perhaps a little too thin, but time will tell. Right, let's apply a bit more heat now to this pan. There we have it, and let's dunk some spam. Oh yes, in it goes. That's quite a thick mixture. That's probably appropriate. There we go. There's our first fritter. Right, let's put that in the pan. There we go. And the second one. Oh yeah. Batter these bad boys up. Put that in the pan. And then our third one. I think in putting that in the pan I have somewhat lost the batter off that, but never mind. There we go. Okay, and let's put that one in the pan as well. If I can actually get it out of the container. Right. In it goes. So I'm just going to spread a little bit of batter on top of those, that when we turn them over they still have some batter on, because some of that's kind of leaked off the sides. And anyway, you can now have too much batter. Said like a true Brit. Good. Beautiful, beautiful job. Right, well, we'll just wait for the underside of those to get a little bit toasted and a little bit cooked on there. Well, guys, how have I been? Well, one of the things that I've been really noticing of recent is how absolutely mad things have been going with Bitcoin. I don't know how many of you follow Bitcoin. It's a little risky for me to talk about Bitcoin because, of course, whenever one talks about Bitcoin, the information soon becomes out of date. And generally, when I make these videos, I don't necessarily upload them. I don't get around to processing them or doing anything interesting with them for, sometimes even weeks. And, well, it's the second weekend in December now, and by the time I get around to uploading this, anything I say about Bitcoin could be ancient history. But anyway, yeah, so I've been keeping my eye on Bitcoin. I've been involved in some business ventures that are kind of setting up at the moment that have Bitcoin involved with them. So yeah, it's been very much in my eyes. Now my involvement with Bitcoin goes back quite some time. I actually started mining Bitcoin in February of 2010, back before Bitcoin was really known at all to anyone. I mean, it had no meaningful value back then. It was just some funny idea. In fact, to me, the way I thought of Bitcoin is it was just kind of like currency in a video game. It didn't really seem like something real at all. It just seemed like a virtual currency. Now, I played a lot of MMOs, and so to me, the idea of a virtual currency was kind of, it's kind of novelty. Because in MMOs one tends to have an amount of virtual money that one uses to buy virtual goods and so on and so forth. So I thought Bitcoin was kind of cool, but I certainly didn't think that it would ever be what it is today. But I remember at the time back in 2010 that I had all sorts of PCs just sitting around mining Bitcoin. I got quite into it actually. It was quite challenging back then. You couldn't just download some GUI tool that just worked. I don't think there was lots of source code on my Linux boxes and trying to get things to compile and wondering why things were such an absolute bitch on Linux. But yes, I look back on it now and think it's a real shame that I didn't follow up with that. Now, I did actually think back, well, what PCs was I doing this on? What wallet software was I? Well, there wasn't really much choice of wallet software actually. It was just the wallet software. What wallet did I have? Where did I keep my wallet.dat? Did I have a password on it? Can I remember anything about it at all? And I'm fairly sure that I didn't take this seriously in the slightest. And any traces of any Bitcoin that I ever had are absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, gone now. But I worked out based on the difficulty of the network at the time, which was like less than 5, and how much processing power I had and this sort of thing. And I imagine that at the time I probably had in the region of about 7,000 bitcoins, which here, you know, in the second week of December 2017, is quite a facepalm moment. I think this weekend Bitcoin's value is trading around about $16,000 a coin, and I think I probably had about 7,000 of them. So yes, you can do the multiplication on that and realise how much money I don't have, but could have. But anyway, I'm not bitter about that. You know, I mean, back in February 2010, when I was playing around with this, you know, bitcoins had no meaningful value. It was just like having an in-game currency. Nothing really more than that could be said about it in terms of my perception. I think most people's perception of it. I don't think it was until about 3 years after February 2010 that bitcoins actually had any kind of meaningful value and could be traded for things. And you know, in the interim, you hear stories about people who paid someone 10,000 bitcoins to buy them a pizza and that kind of stuff. So, you know, it really doesn't feel like a lost opportunity because it, you know, wasn't really anything meaningful back then. But yes, and then it wasn't really until, you know, the end of last year that it got seriously serious. You know, I think it was 3 years after I started that it got to like $100 for the value of a coin. But yeah, there wasn't an enormous amount of liquidity in the market. And then yeah, it was the end of last year when we kind of got to, you know, over $1,000, you know, the value of a Bitcoin. But yes, you know, I wonder when we look back on today, if you know, I go back and watch this video again in a few years, what we'll reflect upon. You know, well, I bet I'll be laughing at the fact that it was worth $16,000 this weekend, and you know, will it in a year's time be worth next to nothing because it all bursts, or you know, will it be worth $45,000? We simply don't know. We simply can't say. But you know, it's been a roller coaster ride, and no denying it. Right, well, while I've been thinking about my escapades in Bitcoin, these spam fritters have been cooking up nicely. Certainly there's plenty of batter there. I can really smell the Sam Adams in that batter, but they really have cooked up quite nicely. I don't think I've done too bad a job there, actually. I had a bit of trouble with this one in that the batter just simply wasn't adhering to it, and every time I moved it, it popped out. But I've kept layering additional batter on top of that, and it does seem to have stuck now. Yes, I think those are probably cooking quite nicely throughout at this point. Just need to be careful not to burn them too much. I mean, I personally quite like a batter with a nice crispy edge on it. Obviously it depends on the food stuff that batter is going with, but yeah, I think those are probably about done now, actually. Well, hope you enjoyed watching that piece of food preparation. I guess I will maybe just leave those in there a tiny bit longer and then eat them. So, the moment of truth. Have I successfully managed to make a spam fritter? Well, it doesn't look terrible. Let's see how it tastes. That's a good texture, which is a good start. That's certainly a good batter. The faint taste of the chili powder in it as well, that's good. So another bite. I mean, spam, not the most premium of meat choice in the world, but certainly prepared this way, that's actually quite an enjoyable bite. Yes, I would most assuredly recommend this to anyone who fancies delving into spam-based foods. Very enjoyable, and the Sam Adams certainly hasn't done any bad service here. Taste of Boston. Well, guys, I hope you found this video enjoyable. Thank you as always for tuning in. Please do feel free to leave comments below as always. And don't forget to go out and buy some spam and some Sam Adams and see what you can fry up. Well, guys, I will see you in the next video, and until then, guys, goodbye.